It has been months since the supermarket incident. Ozioma never spoke of it again. Not to Obiora, not to her aunt. She buried it somewhere deep like a coffin in her chest. Then, one Wednesday evening, her aunt Jane called. Can you stop by the house tomorrow? I cooked that bitter leaf soup you like. Ozioma smiled faintly. I'll come after work. She didn't ask questions. She should have. The next day, she stepped into the sitting room and froze. Ezini was sitting in the cushion, head down, hands folded, wearing a plain gown and a bathroom slippers. Ozioma stopped at the door. Auntie, she said, why is she here? I invited her, her aunt said gently. She came to talk. Just listen, eh? Biko. Ozioma shook her head. No, auntie, I'm not doing this. She turned. Ozioma, wait, Ezini said, standing up. Don't touch me. I won't. I need you to hear something. Not for forgiveness, not for pity. I just want you to hear the truth. Her voice was hoarse. I won't stop you if you want me to leave after telling you everything. Ozima stared at her for a long moment. Then she walked to the dining chair, not the sofa, and sat down. Talk, oh, and talk fast. Ezine took a deep breath. I didn't know what I was doing. Ozioma scoffed. That's what they always say. No, listen, I mean it. I wasn't myself. She sat again carefully. It started after I got to America. At first, I noticed little things would irritate me. Whenever you call me, I'll just get irritated. I won't read your messages. Every time I will feel like you were bothering me. I didn't understand it. She paused. My heart changed overnight, and I didn't know why. Even when you took care of my kids. Ozioma blinked slowly. And you think that's normal? It wasn't. I see that now, but I didn't then. She looked up. It all changed when I came back to Nigeria. She rubbed her palms together nervously. I was struggling in America, and I had no other choice but to come back to Nigeria. Uzo left me, abandoned me for nothing. I had no job, no money. I sat at the airport lounge for 5 hours just crying. That was when a woman who was sitting beside me preaching spoke to me. She looked at me once and said, you've wronged someone close to you, but if you pray, it will be revealed. Uzoma raised an eyebrow. A preacher at the airport lounge. Ezine nodded. I didn't take her seriously, but something she said kept ringing in my ears. That night, I went to a small church just to pray. I didn't know what to say, so I just knelt down and cried. She lowered her voice. Ozema sat up slightly. In the dream, I was in a bush running, and I could hear a voice screaming my name, mine and yours. Ezine, you will hate Ozioma. You will see her and feel anger. You will never love her. You will treat her like a stranger. Your heart will never remember your childhood bond. You will always find a reason to despise her. Ezine's voice cracked. She kept shouting it over and over again like it was a chant. Ezine, Ozioma, you will never walk as sisters. She trembled. Then I saw her. Who? Ozioma asked quietly. Auntie Njideka. Ozioma's eyes widened. She was holding a knife. She was chasing me and you. Then I fell. She tried to stab me, but I turned the blade around and stabbed her back. She screamed and vanished. The room went silent. The next morning, Ezine said, I went to the village. Her voice shook. I didn't call anyone. No. I just went straight to her compound to see her. I needed to see her to explain some things for me about the dream. When I got to the compound, I heard people shouting, gathered around her compound. She was lying on a mat crying. Her back was bleeding. Ozioma, she was bleeding. She had a wound, a deep one, like a cut that stab I gave her that night. Exactly the same spot. The villagers said she's been screaming our names all morning, telling people to call us that she had something to confess. She looked at her aunt. You were there now, auntie. You heard about these things. The aunt nodded slowly. I remember. I was there. Ezine's voice cracked. When she saw me, she broke down. She said she was the one, that she had used things to turn my heart against you, that she had been jealous since we were children, that even your father didn't know the level of hate that she carried in her heart. She said, if I don't separate you two, how will my own children shine? Uzioma's lips parted slightly. Her hands were still. She said anytime you were doing well, she would do something to make me feel bitterness towards you. That even my husband wasn't safe. She had planted poison in our home. And Jane added softly, they searched her house after she died. Found charms, different types, different sizes, pictures, names, padlock, including your own name self. Uzoma swallowed hard. My name? Her throat felt dry. Ezini wiped her eyes. I'm not saying this to clear myself. I had a choice, and I chose wrong. Maybe she turned my heart, but at least I could have fought it, but I didn't. She looked directly at her sister. And if I should tell you the truth, I've paid. I've lost my husband, my children, my job, everything, including you. She stood, trying to get close to her. I just needed you to know. It wasn't all my fault, but I still take all the blame. She stepped back. Now, if you want me to leave, I will. But Emma didn't say a word. Not for a long time. She just sat there, the bitter leaf soup now cold on the table, her fingers trembling on her lap, her mind replaying the voice screaming from the bush. Ezine, Ozioma, you two will never walk as sisters again. Then, she said quietly without turning, whatever spell she cast, you still had the choice, and with that, she walked away, leaving Ezine in a silence thicker than guilt. After Ozioma walked out that day, Ezine didn't sleep. She lay on her tea mattress all night, replaying every word she had said. Maybe she will call tomorrow, she whispered to herself. But tomorrow came and passed. But Ozioma never called. Ezine dropped a message. Ozioma, I'm still here. I'm not asking for anything. Just don't lock me out forever. Please forgive me. She sent the message through WhatsApp. One tick, but no reply. She sent another one 2 days later, just a photo of their childhood. The two of them sitting on a bench, their father behind them grinning. Still, there was silence. 2 weeks passed. Then one afternoon at a small pharmacy in GRA, Ezine walked in to buy paracetamol. As she turned to leave, her eyes caught someone. A tall man wearing a blue shirt holding 2 grocery bags. She recognized him from a wedding photo she saw online. It was Obiora, Uzioma's husband. Her legs froze. Her palms started sweating, but her mouth opened on its own. Obiora! He turned, surprised. Yes? How may I help you? Do I know you? I'm Ezine, she stuttered. His eyes narrowed, then widened slightly. I was thinking about it, oh. I thought so. There was an awkward pause. I'm sorry for disturbing you, she said quickly. I don't know I'll see you here. But no, it's fine, he caught her. Are you okay? She nodded, then shook her head. I don't know. She held her purse tighter. I've been trying to reach Ozioma for weeks. Nothing, no response. Obiora didn't speak. I just wanted to tell you everything about the betrayal, the dream, and everything. She spoke fast, her voice shaking. I know it sounds like Nollywood, but it actually happened. And I've told Ozioma, but I don't know. She still doesn't want to talk to me. I want my sister back. She took a shaky breath. Please, can you talk to her for me? Even if it's just once. Obiora's face was calm but unreadable. I believe what you've said, oh, he said softly. Ezine blinked. I don't think you're lying, and I know you're trying. He picked up his shopping bags. But Ozioma is happy where she is now. And peace doesn't always come easy when trust is gone. I know, she whispered. I'm not promising anything, he said gently. But I've heard what you said. He nodded once, then walked away. That night, Ezine cried. Loud. She thought about her life, her kids, her husband. She prayed silently as the ache grew worse. Ozioma never mentioned Ezine. not to friends, not at work, not even to Obiora. She had chosen her peace, and whatever Ezini represented, it wasn't peaceful. She had buried that part of her life like a bad dream. But life has a way of circling back. Sometimes through pain, sometimes through blood, sometimes through the one person you never thought you need again. They say time heals all wounds. That's not always true, but it softens them slowly, quietly until you forget when it used to hurt. That was Ezioma now. She didn't think about America. She didn't think about betrayal. She just lived. The big news came one Wednesday. Uzoma had been complaining of feeling dizzy and unwell for 2 weeks prior to that day. That evening, while making dinner, she threw up outside by the kitchen's balcony. Obiora dragged her to the clinic. "It's probably malaria. Why are you worried?" he said. But it wasn't. Uzoma was pregnant with twins. The nurse said, smiling, holding the scan. Uzoma's mouth opened. Obiora froze. Then they both laughed, loud like they hadn't done in months. For the next few weeks, the house came alive. Baby clothes, matching onesies. Obiora painted the guest room sky blue and pink. Uzoma started talking to her belly like it was an audience. "You people should be calm, oh," she would say. "No kicking while I'm frying plantain." She glowed. But in the 7th month, something shifted. Uzoma started getting tired too easily. She would walk from the kitchen to the living room and need to lie down. Her gums bled sometimes. She felt lightheaded, cold, breathless. Obiora noticed. "Are you okay?" "I'm just heavy," she said, but her voice was thin. Then one night, she woke up gasping, clutching her side, breathing hard, and blood was dripping between her legs. Obiora didn't wait. He carried her to the car and sped to the hospital. She was rushed into the emergency room. Doctors came, nurses moved fast. One of them pushed Obiora aside and said, "We need to stabilize her now." 10 minutes later, the doctor came out, face tight. "We need to talk. Your wife has lost a dangerous amount of blood," he said. "Her platelet count is low and the baby is in serious distress. We need to do an emergency cesarean section." Obiora blinked. "Then why are you waiting now? Go ahead and do the operation." "She needs a blood transfusion," the doctor said, "and urgently." Obiora stepped forward. "Doctor, my blood group is O. I can donate." The doctor looked at the chart, then back at Obiora. "Your wife is AB negative," he said softly. "The rarest type of blood groups. Only 1% of the population has it. She can only receive from an AB negative blood." Obiora's chest tightened. Okay. Can you find it somewhere? In another hospital or from anywhere? Try. I will pay whatever it takes. Please, just save my wife." The doctor rushed out, barking orders. Meanwhile, Obiora ran out of the hospital, dialing people's numbers fast. He called Aunt Jane first. "Auntie, Obiozoma needs blood transfusion. She's AB negative and there's no match in the hospital." There was silence. Then Auntie Jane replied, "My blood group is A. I can't donate. Give me a sec. Let me call Ezini," she said quickly. "Please, don't lose hope." 2 hours passed. Uzoma lay there, pale, hooked to IV line, monitors beeping. Obiora held her hand. Her eyes never left her face. The doctor returned, his face grim. "We've checked everywhere. No blood banks have AB negative right now." Obiora's voice cracked. "What?" At that moment, Uzoma stared. Her eyes fluttered open. She looked at Obiora, then past him. Then she whispered, "My sister, Ezini. Call Ezini." It was 9:06 p.m. Ezini had just finished boiling yam. She was sitting at the edge of her bed when her phone rang. It was her Auntie Jane. She hesitated before picking. "Hello, Auntie." The voice on the other end was not calm. "Ezini, I didn't want to call you, but Obiora just called me. Something has happened to your sister." Oh, Ezini sat up straight. "Auntie, what happened to her?" "She's in the hospital. She has been rushed there this afternoon. They say they need a blood transfusion and they are looking for a rare blood type. I think it's AB negative." Ezini froze. "Which hospital? Where is she? I'm sending the address now," Auntie Jane said, cutting the line. There was a text message that followed. Christ Mercy Specialist Hospital off GRA Junction, room 3. Ezini didn't even think. She didn't change her clothes. She just tied the scarf over her hair, grabbed her small purse, and flew out of the compound. The stress was calm. Too calm. She walked for almost 20 minutes before she finally found an Uber. She got to the hospital around 11:02 p.m. breathless. Her heart was pounding like someone was chasing her. She didn't wait for permission. She marched straight to the front desk, looked at the nurses in the eye and said, I'm a match. I'm her sister. Please take my blood and save my sister. The nurse stared at her for a second, then stood immediately. 10 minutes later, they confirmed it. She was actually AB negative. A perfect match for Ozioma. Ezini was led into the donation room. No questions, no small talk. As they slid the needle into her arm, she closed her eyes and whispered, Please, God, let it not be that I came late. 30 minutes passed when the doctors returned. His face had softened. He pulled his mask down gently and said, You may have saved her life. Ezini didn't respond. She just nodded slowly. Her eyes stung, not from pain but from relief. Ubera saw her in the corridor. She was sitting on a plastic chair holding a bottle of water. Her eyes were low. He walked over, stopped, looked again, really hard. Ezini, he called out. She looked up, smiled softly. Obiora, he nodded, then sat beside her. There was silence between them until he said, Thank you very much. I appreciate. She nodded. She's my sister now. I know she hasn't forgiven me yet. Obiora looked down at his hands. She hasn't forgotten, he said, but she mentioned your name. Ezini smiled faintly. 3 hours later, the doctors came out smiling. Your wife has delivered twins. Congratulations! She's doing fine, but we had to give her a mild sedative. You can go in to see your babies. Ubera jumped up overwhelmed. He hugged Ezini tightly, and for a moment, they just held each other. At 5 a.m., Ozioma woke up. When the nurse told her who donated the blood, she said nothing, not even a blink. She just turned her head and stared at the ceiling. She didn't ask for Ezini, didn't ask for her to leave, didn't ask for her to stay. She just whispered, Please, let me see my babies. Nobody invited her, not officially, not with words, but she stayed. After the babies were born and the nurses cleared the room, she sat on the extra bed in the corner, quiet, hands folded back straight, just there. Obera didn't ask her to leave. And Ozioma, she didn't say a word to her, not even thank you. But the next morning, Ezini swept their room, arranged the baby bag, folded the wrappers neatly, made pap for Ozioma. Ozioma didn't talk much, neither did she. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She just moved like someone trying not to shake the air too much. When they discharged Ozioma, Obiora came with the car. As he lifted the baby carrier, he turned to Ezini. You are coming, right? She hesitated, then looked at Ozioma. Their eyes met for 2 seconds. There was no nod, no smile. Just permission. That was enough. She entered the car. At home, the baby settled in quickly. Ezini took over everything. She cooked, washed, cleaned the feeding bottles with salt and hot water, massaged Ozioma's waist with warm water and palm kernel, just like Mama used to. She held the babies at night so Ozioma could sleep. She didn't sleep much herself, but she didn't complain. Obiora watched her. He didn't say anything, but every now and then he would enter the kitchen and find her staring at the wall, blinking fast, like someone swallowing tears. He would say, Have you eaten? She would smile and say, I'm fine. Then she'd go back to washing. The baby started responding to her voice, crying less when Ezini was carrying them, smiling when she told them old lullabies from their childhood. One night, as she rocked them to sleep, Ozioma came out of the bedroom. She stood at the doorway, watched her sister, listened to their hum, then said quietly, Their names are Ifunanya and Otito. Ezini turned slowly, eyes wet. Ifunanya, she repeated. Then she smiled for the first time in a long time. The next morning, Ozioma didn't say much. But when she brought out the baby clothes and found them mixed up in the wrong drawer, she didn't sigh. She just folded them properly and left space on the bed for her sister. They went back to how things were. Not even close, but something had shifted. Not loudly, just enough to say, maybe we can start again. This time, slower. It has been 3 months since the babies came. Ifunanya and Otito were growing fast. 2 little miracles with matching cheeks and different cries. Obiora was back at work. Uzoma started bathing herself again. The wounds have closed. Not all, but most. And Ezini, she was still there. Still washing bottles, still folding clothes, still sleeping out quietly to buy diapers without asking for a refund. Then one evening, just before sunset, her phone rang. It was an international number. She almost didn't pick, but something in her spirit said, "Answer that call." She pressed it to her ear and held her breath. Ezine. The voice was deeper, older, but she knew it. "It's me," he said. "Uzo." There was silence, like both of them were standing in front of an old locked door. "I heard about everything," he said quietly. "Someone from my village that came to town told me the full story. What your Auntie Njideka said, how she was confessing. Wonders shall never end." Ezini swallowed. "I'm not proud of what happened," she said. "I'm really, really sorry. You came back at least. That's a great start," he replied. There was silence. Then he said, "I miss you. Would you like for us to try again?" "I would like that," Ezini replied. "But I'm still in Lagos with Uzioma." I know," Uzo said, "and I'm glad about that." That night after feeding the babies, Ezine walked into the bedroom. Uzioma was sitting on the edge of the bed adjusting her wrapper. Ezine stood there at a moment. Then she spoke. "I think I'll be leaving for America anytime soon." Uzioma didn't turn. She just nodded once. "When?" she asked softly. "Maybe next month." There was a pause. Then Ezine said, "Uzo called me. He wants me back. He said he wants us to try again." Uzioma looked up. Finally, their eyes met. Longer this time, not as enemies, not even as sisters, just two women who knew too much about pain. The 1 month came earlier than they had imagined. Very early. Ezine had packed the night before. One small suitcase, one Ghana must go. That was all. She didn't have much, but she had peace. Uzioma stayed awake the night before Ezine traveled. She didn't plan to. She just did. And instead of lying there pretending to sleep, she got up, tied her wrapper. Uzioma had just put the twins to sleep when she came into the living room and saw her sister folding her clothes. The fan was on. The room was quiet. Ezine looked up and smiled. "I packed Ifeanyi's extra pacifier by mistake." "Thief," Uzioma exclaimed. They both burst into laughter. It was soft at first, then louder, like something heavy had finally left the room. For the first time in years, they talked, really talked about childhood, about how Mama used to slap them both, even when only one person misbehaved, about the time they snuck garri into their school bags and soaked it behind the toilet block in school, about America, about the green card hustle, about Uzo, about every single thing. And when the room went quiet again, Uzioma said, "I missed you, you know." Ezine didn't speak. She just stretched her leg and tapped her softly. "I missed you too." They sat there in silence. Then, like old times, Uzioma rested her head on Ezine's lap, just like she used to. And they stayed like that till sleep carried them away. The next morning came fast. The twins were still sleeping. Ezine wore a simple long dress and flats. She picked her bags quietly, not to wake the babies. Uzioma came out holding a flask of hot tea. "Drink before you go." "Thank you." They both smiled again. At the airport, they walked in slowly. No tension, no guilt, no, just peace. At the airport, they walked in slowly. No tension, no guilt, just peace. At the final gate, Ezine turned. Uzioma was blinking fast. They didn't speak at first. Then Ezine opened her arms. Uzioma stepped in and they hugged tightly, like women who had been buried under 6 years of silence and just came up for air. "I'll call you when I land, okay? I'll be waiting, oh. Don't forget to send pictures of the twins." Only if you send pictures of your new waistline." They laughed again, this time through tears. Ezine touched her sister's cheek. "Take care of you." Uzioma nodded. "You too." She stood and watched as Ezine walked down towards the gate. This time, Ezine looked back and smiled. Uzioma smiled too. Two sisters, once broken, now whole again. The end. Life will test the bonds we think are unbearable. Sometimes the people we love the most will be the ones who hurt the deepest. And sometimes healing doesn't come through revenge, it comes through mercy. In this story, Ozioma lost everything, not to strangers, but to the very person she trusted with her life. But she found her way back, not just to joy, but to something even rarer, peace. And Ezini, she was lost too, spiritually manipulated, emotionally hardened, but she owned her mistakes. She stayed, she served, and in the end, she was forgiven. Thank you so much for watching this story to the end. This is not just a story about betrayal, it's a story about choices, about the quiet power of coming back and choosing love again. So I ask you, who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to check on? And who are you willing to fight for, even when it's uncomfortable? Let me know in the comments. Do you believe family can truly heal after a deep betrayal? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Till next time, thanks a lot for watching. Bye.